Good morning. We are live on the Evolving HR live stream, pending technical difficulties. We are both here alive amazingly. So, good morning, Kirsty.
Good morning, Toby. That was painful. More painful than it should have been. But I also turned up an hour ago thinking it was 8:30 my time, not 8:30 UK time. So.
I turned on my computer this morning and the internet wasn't working. So I was like, I was just like unplugging things, plugging things back in. But we're here. We're live.
Yeah,
We've got people watching. Hello to everybody watching. If you are watching, just let us know in chat where you are tuning in from. And let us know if you're coming to the conference as well. Because this is our penultimate live stream.
Yeah. 6 weeks today.
41 or 42 days, depending on how weird. So we had this last time, didn't we? Where it's like...
We did. It's 6 weeks today.
6 weeks today. We're going to be in Manchester doing lots of awesome stuff. It's exciting.
It's very real now.
yeah. It's like, it's to the point where it's like, okay, we definitely have to do this now. Like there's no, but hello, Francesca. Welcome.
Hello, Francesca.
From Bath as well. Oh, so you're making your way all the way from Bath to Manchester for the conference. I don't know my train knowledge. Is that a direct train from Bath to Manchester?
Funnily enough, I am also coming from Bath up to the conference because my dad's 80th birthday celebrations are happening in Bath on the Saturday.
Francesca, get yourself down to Kirsty's dad's 80th birthday party.
We might be on the same train, Francesca. I will be getting the train up on Monday morning to Manchester. So, yeah. And yes, it is direct. Oh, no, that's a big fat lie. We got to change at Bristol Temple Meads. Yeah.
Ah, well, there's worse train stations to swap at. But this isn't a train station live stream as much as I'd like it to be. Francesca has given us a big wow for the 80th birthday, wow for stopping at Temple Meads, or wow that it's not a direct train. I don't know what the wow is in response to, but I
think it's wow that you've started this live stream talking about trains.
Well, there's that popular TikToker / Instagram reeler YouTuber Francis Bourgeois. Yeah, I mean he's made it. Yeah, there you go. Look, see, people don't love me though. That's the weird thing. Like I don't get as much love as Francis Bourgeois, but that's probably because I don't have a scooter and I don't chase after trains with a GoPro attached to my head. So we're 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
How many tickets have we got left?
10.
So if 10 tickets, I think we had like 50 last time we were on.
10 in-person tickets left. That's
10 in-person tickets left. Scan the QR code, get your tickets if you haven't got your tickets already, because if you probably don't get them this week, you ain't coming, because there is for health and safety reasons, we can't allow any more people. So even if you beg and plead, you can't come if you don't buy a ticket. So scan that QR code there if you haven't already.
It went because it's funny, we had 15 left about a week ago, and then last we had 3 people who messaged to say I can no longer make it, can I switch to a virtual ticket? So I was like, okay, we're back to 18 again, and then we had a little flurry and sold another 8, so we're at 10 now. Yeah.
And that's a good reminder, actually, that if you do click the link up here, you can also buy a virtual ticket as well. So all the sessions will be live streamed through high fidelity recording equipment and audio equipment. And will also be available for catch up afterwards. So even if you can't watch it live, which is why can't you? This should have been in your diary for months. You can watch it on catch up as well. Only for those people that buy a virtual ticket. If you don't buy a virtual ticket, you don't get access to nothing.
Nothing.
What have we got left to do, Kirsty? Is there anything on the to-do list?
A lot has changed since we last did one of these lives. So I can now announce that our final gold sponsor is ULife.
The zoo people.
The zoo people, yes. Which is really, really exciting. And they are sending their CTO, who is also one of their founders, Josh Hart, and we're going to do like a fireside chat with him rather than the panel discussion. Josh is really cool, and it's a really interesting story on what they're doing in an industry which traditionally isn't wildly interesting or exciting because it's insurance and benefits and that sort of thing. They've kind of gamified it, and they're doing something very different to most other insurance and wellbeing providers. So very, very excited to have them on board. Very excited to meet Josh, and also Lauren, who is my contact at ULife, who's their chief marketing officer. She's going to be coming along as well. So that's all happened in the last month since we had one of these sessions. So I haven't actually put a post out yet about ULife, but I did get all of the info, the media pack and everything through from Lauren yesterday. So I'll be working on that today. What else has changed? We are finalizing what Cezanne's panel discussion is going to be about. So I've been talking to Peter at Cezanne and Sam at Cezanne about that. They're our second gold sponsor. And then any of you that have seen my recorded conversation with Deborah Coxon last week about Menopause and the panel that they're doing, that was hilarious. She's just absolutely wonderful. Yesterday, she's also our provider of the month in the directory for, well, it's actually going to be October, November, because I haven't got the blooming thing out yet. But I was editing my conversation with Deborah yesterday, the longer conversation, and the caption software can't cope with accents from the northeast of England. And Deborah is, she's got quite a strong northeastern accent, and there were some hilarious caption typos as I was going through that. My favorite, which I actually sent her the screenshot, was it looked like she was talking, it said something about the Serbians, and I was like, I'm scanning through the words thinking I don't remember us talking about Serbians. She said surveys.
Think menopause, think Serbians.
Think Serbians.
I think that's the catchphrase, right?
Yeah, absolutely bizarre. Anyway, so yes, Deborah is our third gold sponsor. So that's ULife, Cezanne, and Menopause, which is very, very exciting. So they're all sending representatives on the day. They're going to be involved in it. They're going to be there. I know that there are going to be freebies on the stands that they have because I have talked to them about that. The other nice thing that I'm working on at the moment is goodie bags for our attendees. So I have been speaking to a lovely lady called Kate who runs something called the HR Gift Shop. And I am purchasing from Kate a rather nice little goodie to go in the goodie bags for everybody. There's going to be something involving HR in there too, but this is just a nice to have. And I really love the stuff that Kate does. So I am buying one of those for everybody. And Kate has very kindly offered to also chuck in another little something from her gift shop as well. So yeah, a lot of work on the things like goodie bags at the moment. We're pretty much there. You did the production schedule, didn't you, last week? Which the
minute by minute, second by second breakdown of what is happening and when and who needs to be in the green room and where. And
oh my God. Yeah. Jules looked at that over my shoulder when I opened it and went, "Oh God, it's a full day, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yes, darling, and you're going to be working all day."
Yeah, if Jules could man the green room, that'd be great. Awesome.
Yeah, Jules is going to be the run around, get people in the right place person, and that's. Now you see it written out like that on the production schedule. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot.
It is a lot, but we've got it covered. We've got an awesome team. Well, we've got you and me, and we've got Jules, and we've got Emily, and we've got video production team there. There's two of them. That's 6. We got amazing speakers as well. Like,
we really
and all of our speakers, not only they're amazing, they've all done this before. So my hope is that they know how to get on stage and talk, and we don't need to give them too much direction about that.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, it's nearly everybody who's there has done something like this before, so they won't be, flailing around not knowing what's going on. So one thing I did notice, there's gonna be a lot of chairs on the stage, chairs off the stage, chairs on the stage, chairs off the stage. But that went very smoothly at Michelle's Geek Together.
It did, and
a similar sort of thing there. So we can do this.
As you'll have seen, there is 5 minutes of Toby whilst chairs are being moved around. So I've got to come up with improv HR chat for 5 minutes while chairs are being moved behind me. So I'm going to be like, look over here, look over here, look over here. Don't look at the chairs. Don't look at the chairs. Look at me, look at me, look at me.
And then all of a sudden,
and then all of a sudden, the chairs will have disappeared or arrived, and everyone will be like, wow, how did that happen? We were so captivated by Toby that we didn't realise it was happening. Let's just talk more about the sponsors then, because we've got 3 amazing gold sponsors.
We do indeed.
Let's talk about them, because I don't know loads about them, because they're people you've been talking to primarily. But I call you Life the Zoo people, because they hosted an event at
London Zoo last week. Yeah.
Charlie Hart has just checked in. Hello,
hey, Charlie.
So yeah, what do You Life do apart from hold awesome events in zoos?
They it's insurance and well-being. So they have an app, and it's one of the things that really stood out for me when I spoke to Lauren was around when HR people are looking at benefits for their organization. More often than not, they speak to brokers. And there isn't much of a connection between the organization and the actual insurance company. YouLife are building relationships with HR professionals and with organizations rather than relying on the broker. So it's a lot more personal. And I talked about gamification, which is, a topic that you and I are both really interested in, but the app that they've got, like, you can get rewards and things for doing certain health and well-being things. And I am not talking about this in a very articulate way, because I really didn't know you were going to ask me that question. Thank you, Toby. Right. But it's basically, I call it sort of gamifying and coolifying insurance and benefits and well-being. It's really quite interesting what they're doing, and they seem to be going from strength to strength. But yes, they ran this event last week at London Zoo, and it was all about productivity, and the room that they had it booked in was overlooking, or sort of had a window through to, the penguins.
Nice.
If I was based in the UK, I would have been there in a heartbeat for some sort of penguin action.
I actually took a meeting with someone who was at that event. So the event finished, and they had a meeting with me straight after. And I jokingly said, if we can have this meeting where I can see a giraffe in the background, then that'll be the best meeting I have this year. Lo and behold, Joe Bailey came through, and I had not 1, but 2 giraffe in the background of that call. There was also a child using a potty.
Oh, wow, okay.
that I didn't ask for.
No, the gift you didn't ask for. Wonderful. We can't promise zoos or animals, unfortunately, at the conference. No, there won't be any giraffes, which is a real shame.
Well, don't never work with children or animals, they say. And I think if we had children or animals at the first evolving HR conference, that would be playing with fire. Fire will also not be present as well.
There will be no pyrotechnics, as much as Jay Unwin would love to bring the pyro. In fact, he actually asked you that, didn't he? Can I bring the pyro?
Yeah. I've been having conversations with Jay, and I think he wants full-on set design. We're having trouble figuring out how we're going to get chairs on and off the stage whilst also hosting a small Metallica concert. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yes, very true. Yeah. So, well, Jay sent me a photograph on WhatsApp the other day of a packet of fake blood, with the comment below saying some of my conference props are arriving. So I have no clue what. I don't know if he was joking, if he was serious, if this is going to actually be like going to see GWAR. You're going to need to Google that, most people, the band GWAR. But I have no idea what Jay has in store, but we've told everybody, do what you want, go for it. As long as it doesn't involve children, animals, or hurting anybody, then that's
well,
Gua.
I think there we go.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I had to Google who Gua were. I mean, if Jay turns up looking anything like this, I mean, it's already going to be a HR conference with a difference.
Yes.
But this would be on a different scale.
He was talking about stage diving the other day, and I'm like, yeah, but we've got everybody seated cabaret style, so you'd basically just land on a table, and that really
he would be
gonna...
the first person to try and probably fail at doing a stage dive into cabaret seating. I mean, if he wants to do it, I'm all for it. Just be aware that, well, to all our speakers, that the indemnity and public liability insurance do not cover
Doesn't
acts
cover
of
stage
stupidity.
diving. Yes, pyrotechnics or anything that is, heavy metal related. Did I talk about our raffle last time?
You didn't. I was gonna just finish talking about the other sponsors first.
Go for that. Yeah,
because we talked about
I'll
ULife.
jump forward.
I
Yeah,
think
we don't plan these in advance in case anybody was in any doubt.
You don't need. Yeah, this is we vibe it. I think the thing I love about ULife is that it's like a cooler Vitality is what it is. Like Vitality is kind of like, I think Vitality started off pretty cool, and then all of a sudden, like everyone caught up and started being like Vitality. But ULife's actually it's a bit more human. Whereas Vitality is very like clinical, and I don't need to use clinical as a pun in a medical insurance sense. So we got ULife, gold sponsor number 1, gold sponsor number 2. Shall we go with Cezanne?
Yes, absolutely. So Cezanne run an HRIS system. Well, the SS system in HRIS, isn't it? So Cezanne. There's an awful lot of competition in the market, in the HRIS market. I really like it's the vibe, the ethic, the culture of Cezanne. I know of a number of HR professionals who use that system and love it. It's very user friendly, and they've been making great strides in the last couple of years. And I was involved with Cezanne, the last funding round they went through. I actually did their management due diligence. So a number of the management team have been known to me for a couple of years now. But the way this came up with evolving was completely unrelated to that and just a total coincidence. But I had been really interested in the business and excited about the business and what they were doing when I did the due diligence 2 years ago. So for them to sort of come back into my arena, and now we're working together in terms of the conference. And I'm also keynoting at their user general meeting in November, which just happens to be the week before our conference. So they have an event once a year where they invite all of their users. I'm going to be doing the keynote at that. So we're working together in a number of different ways at the moment, which is rather lovely. But again, it's like I guess they're competitors there are so many out there now, and some of them are focused on much larger organizations. Cezanne tend to focus on sort of the small to medium size market very successfully. So it's a nice system. I think the customer service is one of the things that people really like. It's like you get that support that you need, which is good. And me, I've gone with companies not just because they've said they want to do it, but because I also like them as well, and I get a good feel for the organization. And there's, anyone that you talk to at Cezanne, there's a massive amount of passion and enthusiasm for what they do. So Peter Hall is going to be coming along on the day, and we haven't actually finalized who the rest of the panel is going to be for that one yet. We're still working through that with them, but I'm looking forward to that. They're a great company.
Like, I think they had this lovely bridge between like some of the HRIS systems that are like almost too simple, like they don't do enough. And then you have the big players that almost do too much and don't do it very well.
Yeah.
Naming no names, success,
no names,
and SAP and all that lot. But sorry, just verbal diarrhea. But there's this level of simple complexity. Like, it does loads of stuff, but it does it in a really simple way, which is like the absolute balance you need to get with a HRIS system, because either it doesn't do enough or it does too much and is wildly complicated. I think they've struck a really cool balance there, which is awesome. And then our final gold sponsor, Menopause, the aforementioned Menopause. What do they do? But I mean, we've kind of talked about it, but
Yeah.
What's the
I mean,
tagline?
I always say clues in the name, but it kind of isn't. So one of the distinctions that Dee makes is that there's a big difference between awareness and training when it comes to menopause. Awareness it works very well up to a certain point for people. But where menopause is really focused is the gap that Dee identified in terms of how managers cope with employees in their teams who are going through menopause. So it's not so much about the women going through menopause or the people going through menopause. It's about those who are working with them and managing them. And the feedback that she got when she started researching this was, oh, please don't make me go to this. It's excruciating. Like, they tell us all about the symptoms and it's like a biology lesson and it's really cringy and I just can't bear it. And then there's also, I think the flip side of it is a lot of the people going through menopause don't want to tell their manager because it's personal, and it's like, there's a brilliant, in the conversation that I just edited yesterday that we had last week, she said when she approached women going through menopause and said, why have you not told your manager that you're experiencing these things that could affect your job? The feedback was like, but my manager's 28 and doesn't have, he's younger than my son. And he doesn't understand what it is. So what she's tried to do with menopause is bridge that gap about increasing awareness and training managers to recognize and support their teams through menopause, which is lovely. There's no one doing that. It's, it's a very definite gap that she's identified. So
100%. I was on a podcast last week talking about the menopause. Obviously, I'm not someone who's personally going to be affected by that, but obviously
you say that you're married to somebody who will be.
Exactly.
And if you were to ask my husband if he's been affected by menopause, he would say, "Oh yes."
So it's like it's on me to educate myself about that. But I think when I reflect on, so the reason I was on a podcast was because I told the story about I worked for a company and there was only 10 people at the company, and 2 of them were going through the menopause. One because of age, and one because of a surgery they had, which for various reasons created early onset menopause at my age, right? They're the same age as me, and both of them confided in me as a leader in that business about what they were going through, and I was like, shit. Like, okay, we need to start doing things differently at work, because like, to expect you to be able to act and behave in the same way pre-menopause or perimenopause is like, that's harsh. Like, you shouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. But I essentially went to the 2 founders of that company and said, hey, look, we got 2 people, which is 20% of the company, going through this. We need to educate ourselves and do things differently. And I was met with inaction. This is the problem, right? That like, no one's going to listen to me about educating someone about the menopause. But how do you get other people to do that? Because it's so important. And as menopause, hopefully, and I'm pretty sure it hasn't happened yet, becomes a protected characteristic here in the UK, then you ultimately have no option but to do it. But this is the slightly annoying thing about HR in the UK, is that until it becomes a protected characteristic, we tend to just keep it at arm's length and not do anything about it, which is like, that's a bit shit. Like, you shouldn't be doing that, really.
It's, especially when it affects 50% of the population at some point.
I mean, if there's any indicator that we live in a patriarchal society, it is that. But anyway,
let's not go down that wormhole.
I went on a podcast yesterday, was talking about capitalism, so it's like, I just like all the spicy topics, really.
Get religion in there next, the US election, whatever you know.
So if you were living in America, who would you be voting for? No, let's not do that.
No comment.
Your eyes tell 1,000 stories. So there are 3 gold sponsors, each of them doing either a fireside chat or a panel conversations, which is going to be really, really cool.
And it's really interesting. You used the expression, just when you were talking just then, you used the expression doing things differently. And that's what all 3 of those organizations have in common. They are doing things differently. And that was a big part of what we were looking for this, wasn't it? It's like, we talked about this the other week, and it's like the word is not rebellious that we're looking for. It's not necessarily about ripping up the rule book. It's more about not accepting the status quo and not being boring about things that don't need to be boring. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing things differently and trying to make them more fun and more interesting. And that's the kind of vibe that we've been going for across the board, sort of a mixture of inclusivity and just, I guess it's, I can't use the word disrupt.
Well,
It doesn't feel disruptive. It's like that's something different, but you know what I mean.
It feels like it's evolving HR. But,
oh, well, there you go then.
but I think you're right, because especially with some of the issues HR does tackle within organizations, the last thing you want is to your HR department to be disruptive, because you're like, actually, there is, loss and risk mitigation. It covers a lot of stuff. So, should we disrupt that department that's keeping us legally safe? Probably not. But how do you evolve HR into something bigger and better and innovate? And the thing I love about the network that you've created here is that it's all about it brings it back to the human element. And I think HR will always tell you, it's like, oh, well, we've always been human first and all that kind of stuff. And you kind of go, well, I don't really think you have, because otherwise you would have been doing stuff around menopause, as an example, 20, 30 years ago, because it's not a new thing. No. Race, gender, sexuality, all these things aren't new.
Always been there.
Exactly. Always. And you're just like, even to the point where, some of your posts since we did the live stream, right, about your identity and how you show up at work, whether it's through clothes, tattoos, or hair, or whatever. Like, we're only now just coming to that phase where you feel more comfortable doing that.
Yes.
On LinkedIn. It's like, well, that's appreciating the human that comes to work, goes to LinkedIn, comes to this professional setting.
Yeah.
And I don't do inverted commas because I don't think you're professional, but like the idea of a professional setting is just like blue suits and white shirts, isn't it? And about 10 years ago, we started taking off the tie and undoing the top button. We all chilled out a bit. Like,
the top button. Oh my goodness, it was a thing, wasn't it? It's like,
not wearing a tie. It's just yeah. And now Keir Starmer is all over that. Anyway, we said we weren't talking about politics.
I am doing, when it comes to authenticity, I am finally taking it's like the ultimate step in me being me, never going back to being an employee again. The week before the conference, I'm getting my fingers tattooed.
Oh, what evolving HR doesn't fit on four knuckles.
No, it doesn't. It does not. But no, it's like that's something that I have put off doing my entire adult life because it wouldn't have been accepted at work. So it's like that's my final. You're never going to go back and work for someone else again. Getting my fingers done.
Evolving is 8 letters though.
So I'm not having evolving.
You can have evolving, and then you can stick your thumbs out and say HR.
It's HR on my thumbs, or maybe that way. That could be even sadder, so I can go like that with HR. No, that's not what I'm having. If those of you who are coming to the conference, you'll be able to see what I'm having, but I'm not sharing that.
The grand
now
reveal.
You want me to have this on my thumbs, don't you, HR? Yeah.
I'm totally getting that done with a biro for the day.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Okay. So we talked about our 3 gold sponsors. Before we talked about 1 gold sponsor, then you said you're going to talk about something, and I've forgotten what that was. Raffle. What's this raffle thing all about?
Well, I still haven't 100% decided how I'm going to do it on the day. But so we've got a partner charity, which I did mention last time, Metal for Good. And 2 of their trustees are coming along on the day. And obviously that they would like to raise funds. And the work that Metal for Good do is a lot of projects that help kids. And they just happen to be a group of metalheads who do a lot of their fundraising at gigs and festivals, that sort of thing. But obviously heavy metal is a big part of my identity. And so I asked if they would be interested in coming along to the conference. And they were like, are you sure? Because it's like, it's not a metal thing. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like you're going to be sitting there playing Slayer all day and everybody's going to be covering their ears and going, why are we listening to Slayer at this HR conference? But they are there to fundraise and raise awareness of the sorts of projects that they work on. And so I asked my staggeringly kind and generous evolving HR providers if anybody had anything they could donate to a raffle to raise funds for this charity. And I was genuinely thinking that people would say like, oh yeah, I'll bring a bottle of fizz or something. But no, they've all pretty much started donating their services. So we actually have, it's over 10 grand's worth of places on courses, membership communities for a year, coaching sessions, CV reviews, you name it. They showed up. And that was just one message in the WhatsApp group. So I haven't even finalized the list of what's going to be available. So what I think I'm going to do on the day is you buy a raffle ticket and you put it in the pot for the prize that you want, because otherwise, if it's random, people could end up with a prize, end up on a training course that they've already done, or get something that they don't need. So I think I'm going to have them so that you split your raffle tickets between the prizes that you actually want, and then we draw each prize at the end of the day and announce that to people. But I actually really like the idea of doing an 80s style school fate raffle, and because I just want a tin of rice pudding with a number on it.
Oh yeah, like was it a tombola when is that when it has to ends in a 5 or a 0, and that's when
yes, there was always a tin of rice pudding.
So so the two things that we need for Evolving HR: biro, so I can write Evolving HR on my fingers and thumbs, and a tin of rice pudding. Right. Oddly enough, because I've got 2 young children, we have tins of rice pudding, so I can bring that. Also, what I do have right next to me is a book of raffle tickets.
What?
So I do this thing that when I go to networking events, anybody who speaks to me gets a raffle ticket, and then I draw a prize at the end. I draw at the end, and then whoever has the winning ticket gets a deck of our cards.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I have a book. We've got the raffle ticket. Kirsty, don't worry, I've got the raffle ticket sorted.
Great, lovely.
I love that the buckets of like.
I think it's going to be I think that makes sense. But then it's like, then my brain goes to, okay, what are you going to put them in? You're going to have to now somehow source a load of buckets. I think jars will probably be sufficient, but that sort of size. We'll work it out. We've got 6 weeks to work out the finer details. But my point is, if you're coming along to the conference, you have an opportunity for, a small amount of money to buy some raffle tickets to potentially win a prize that's worth more than you've paid for the raffle tickets and the conference and probably your train as well. Because we've got, some of the prizes that people have given are worth £800-900, £1,000, that sort of thing. It's crazy. So incredibly proud and sort of moved by the generosity of everybody for that. And it's not just the providers that are coming along on the day, it's others that can't even be there that still said, yeah, I'll pop this in, I'll give something. So really, really cool. Really
and cool. That all happened in the space of like 10 minutes as well. Like that wasn't like over the course of a day or a week.
No,
it was like,
you saw the conversation as it happened, didn't you? It was literally like bang, 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 bang. And I was like, oh, I knew when I went into this that culture and values and the right vibe were really important to me, but good God, this is a good bunch of people.
I think
a really good bunch of people.
The phrase I use of yours, apologies, I've stolen it, but I use it a lot, is collaboration over competition. I think that is absolutely huge and just resonates with the people that will be either speaking at the event, sponsoring at the event, attending the event, but also in the app and all that kind of stuff. Is like we're all there for the benefit of each other, because there is enough work to go around for all of us. Like you don't need to,
so true. Yeah, so true.
And when there isn't enough work for all of us, then we'll all be
at each other's
daily.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. There's nobody in there who does the same thing the same way.
Yeah.
Or has the same experience or personality that they bring to it. So yeah, you could put 5 HR for HR coaches next to each other. They'd all be completely different. And every person who is looking for a coach is going to like 1 or 2 of them and think, not sure that one's for me. It really doesn't need to be a competition. So, I mean, I love that. It's really cool. And I'm extremely excited about this conference, I have to say. And it's nice because I've got people that I've worked with before as well. So I've the photographer that's coming on the day to do all of the event photography is a lady called Andrea Tufescu, who has done my brand photography for the last 2 years. And I love Andrea. And I didn't even know if she did event photography, but I messaged her a while back and I said, like, you're the only person I would ask before I look anywhere. Do you do this? Would you do this? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. So it's like, it's someone I know that's coming to do that. And the person that's going to do our social media on the day is my best mate, who is a social media content creator, and that's her thing. So she's coming along and she's going to do that for us, which is cool. So it's nice. It's like, and I've invited a couple of people as well that I've worked with. So I've invited, just as guests, I've invited my coach, and I've invited the lady that built my whole website, just to see if they want to come. So basically, sort of, it's kind of going to be like a birthday party for me, like a business birthday party where I've got everybody I've ever worked with in one place.
Yeah, it's weird because like those moments don't happen often in your life at all.
No,
especially work and friends. Like usually it's like friends and family, but work
yes, like your wedding reception. Yeah, our wedding party, my 40th birthday party, probably the 2 times in my life that I've had most of. But my family weren't at either of those.
Yeah,
my family didn't come to my wedding party.
Well, you did. You're Vegas, right?
No, that was the wedding. We had a party when we got back.
Okay, right.
It was a Saturday. They were too busy.
On a Saturday.
Let's not go there.
Let's dig up some family trauma. I think we there's a lot of sharing we could do. That's a whole different live stream.
Yes.
We've got Nicole and Kareen also joined us on the live stream as well. Kareen of Human Ear, our friends down under. I'm assuming Kareen isn't coming.
No, if she is, she hasn't told me, because that would totally win the coming the furthest distance to the conference.
Yeah.
One day I will meet Kareen and Kim in person. That would be lovely, but I don't think it's 2024, unfortunately. Yeah, what they're doing with Human Ear is phenomenal, absolutely amazing. And if anybody's watching this and you have not checked out Human Ear, please do, because it's awesome. So it's Kareen Redmond Matthews and Kimberly Burns. They're in Australia, but the app is not exclusively for Australians. So get on there and check it out. It's me promoting other people again, rather than talking about my own event. That's so me. But yeah, it's nice to see you here, Kareen. We need to catch up soon.
What about our other sponsors? So we've got storytelling sessions. We kind of talked about those on the last stream.
We did talk about the storytellers on the last one. We've also got Agility, who are an employer of record, an EOR company, and they are our drinks sponsor. So we are having a drinks event straight after the conference in the same venue, but upstairs. And basically the first drink is on Agility, which is really, really kind of them. So we will make drinks tokens for everybody to go in the goodie bags. And if you aren't able to stay for the evening drink, you can
give me your drinks token.
Your token to me or Toby or anybody else of your choosing.
No,
mostly me and Toby.
No. I think you and I will need the drink tokens by the end of the day. Like, do not give it to. You can give it to someone else.
You can give them to whoever you want, as long as it's me or Tobe. No, you can.
Their names have to begin with Tobe or Kirst.
Yes.
Anybody in that realm is fine.
Absolutely. Oh my god. So that's. I'm trying to think. I think that is, like, obviously aside from the storytellers. We did talk about storytellers at a fair, quite length. Jesus, I can't speak at length last time.
We did.
Because remember talking about Amplify Your Impact, and how is that all going? Do we know yet who's going to be speaking? Do we not know yet?
We do not. I am speaking to the lovely Emma Jamil tomorrow morning about it. But I can tell you the talks I've seen. So there are 5 people on that program. I think there's 5. Now there is 5. Yeah. I was like, Jenny Armstrong is already speaking, so it's going to be 2 of 4, and I can tell you, between them, that is a really hard call to decide which one to put through, which 2 to put through, because they are all incredible, all hugely different as well. So I've been giving them some one-on-one coaching on their talks, and it's just like mind-blowingly human but different, and all the things that evolving HR encompasses are represented in their talks.
What
You will
sort
laugh.
of topics have we got?
So we've got death, we've got infertility, we've got acting, we've got, and then one of them I haven't spoken to yet.
Okay.
Or two of them I haven't spoken to yet. But yeah, death, infertility, and acting. I mean, could you get any different? Like
Jenny's doing the death. Jenny's the death one, isn't it?
Jenny's doing the death one.
Yes, we've already announced that. So she's
Okay.
talking about recovery from grief, or after the loss of her sister, which is that one's going to be a tough one. So interesting. Okay, so we got some different topics, and yeah, so they're going to decide between them who does it at the actual conference, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're doing some one-on-one coaching over the next couple of weeks, and then I'm seeing them all live in person for the last time before the conference at the end of October. So at the end of October, that is probably when we'll decide, because we're going to do some in-person coaching. We're getting in a workspace, and we're gonna film them. They don't know that yet, but we're going to film them.
They
We're
do
going to
now.
yeah.
So,
hopefully,
yeah.
hopefully not. Otherwise, I've just ruined. It's not a surprise, but yeah. So by the end of October, we will 100% know. I mean, we got a little bit of an inkling. But yeah, and I like those big shout out that if you are around the night before, those 5 individuals are taking to a different stage in a smaller venue to practice, essentially. So if you want to support 5 incredible, truly incredible people, then come along to that. Follow Emma Jamil, follow the HR Big Me and all that kind of stuff on LinkedIn, because they are doing a really cool little event before that feeds into the bigger event, and
Cool.
it's just like a little festival almost that we created that in the Trafford area of Manchester. Just the latest and greatest thinkers and movers and shakers in HR are all descending to Old Trafford. It is the best thing Old Trafford will have seen for decades, because
My
Manchester
husband would
United
100% agree with you on that.
Good.
He's still threatening to wear his Liverpool shirt on the day.
I would happily, we've got evolving HR knuckle tattoos and a Liverpool shirt. Like,
Claire, no, there's no selection of talks you go to. It's one long old day in the. It's
going to sit in the same seat without moving.
We've got one stage. So, but what we do have is a breakout area where we will be also showing what's going on the stage on a screen, and for people that need to, take a break, 5 minutes. It's interesting. I sent out an email to the attendee mailing list a week or so ago, because I'm now at the point where I need any allergens, dietary requirements, and the names that people want on their name badges. So I've also asked if anybody needs any adjustments, or if there's any assistance that they need, or anything that we need to know about before they come to the event. And there have been about 10 people who've said, if there's a space I can escape to just to get out of one big room. And I'm like, yeah, we've already got that covered, because you have an introverted ADHDer here who needs that anyway. But that's been the most frequent thing. I've also have told them all that the lunch is going to be 100% plant-based, which is actually really helpful from an allergen perspective, because 4 of the main 8 allergens, you get around that immediately by having a plant-based menu. So it's really just asking people if they're allergic to gluten, soy, and nuts. Although we have had a banana allergy and an onion allergy pop up. So I'm going to have to ask. Yeah, I know so I'm glad I asked, because you don't, obviously there are people allergic to things that aren't the common ones. So we'll have to ask the venue to label, particularly onion. I don't think there's going to be banana in a huge amount of the lunch food. But
I'm trying to think of, apart from like a banana split, what kind of recipes call for a banana?
Or like banana bread.
Or just eating a banana.
Sorry, Claire's celiac. We've got quite a few that are actually Claire, including the trustee of the charity, who's a good friend of mine. She's celiac. So we've got the gluten thing covered, and we'll make sure that is very clearly labeled. There's a lot of gluten-free people on that list. So yeah, that was the, it's nice that I'm at that stage, where it's like, okay, let's find out what we actually need for people. So if you're going to the conference, if you've bought a ticket but you haven't responded to that email yet, it's a little Google form that I attached in that email, and that tells me what I need to do. And then for name badges, we've given everybody the, just your first name, surname. Do you want your pronouns included? That sort of thing. So want to try and, I probably need to think about how I'm going to make those name badges, really, don't I? Yeah, but it's nice, that's the level of detail we're at out. And we need to talk about signage and things, the sort of not very exciting admin things, but the last 6 weeks is kind of the time to do that. So
it's great.
All the big stuff's sorted.
Yeah, we know where it is, and we
know where it is. We know who's coming. We have actually had a dropout. That's an awful way of putting it, but we need to make a change to one of the panels, which is fine. 6 weeks is plenty of time to be able to sort that out. Probably need to tell you about that at some point, don't I, Toby? Because it's the first you're hearing of it. But it was a message I got at the weekend, so I'll sort that out. But we've got time to do those sorts of things, so it's all good.
Plenty of time. So I suppose it's a shout out if anyone wants to come on a panel. What panel is it that we need to?
It's the menopause one.
Oh, okay.
But I've got a couple of people I want to approach about that.
Okay, so don't get in touch.
Don't
get in touch. We've got it covered. But do get in touch with your dietary and access requements.
Yes, please do.
Is absolutely key.
Yes, it is.
I do get a little bit scared when I get your emails that are from the marketing, because it says hello Toby, and like Kirsty never says hello Toby at the beginning of it. It makes me feel like I'm in trouble. Like hello Toby. I'm like, oh what have I done to Kirsty? It's like, oh, it's a marketing email. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I never know whether to put hi everyone or just do the first name. And it's like, you think it's more personal, but sometimes it's just like, it's even more obvious that it's a group mail out when you use the first name.
Hello, Toby.
Because normally I just put hiya. I don't
exactly right.
Yeah.
It's like when a parent full names you. If you just first name me, apparently I to end up in a puddle on the floor. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. What have I done? Okay, so we've talked about gold sponsors. We've talked about some final things here. We have one more live stream before the event. That is happening in November. I believe it is
the 5th.
November the 5th. Bonfire night.
Yep.
Yeah, there is. Bonfire night.
Yep. Yeah, and I because I forgot, as usual, I forgot to tell any of the speakers and sponsors that we were doing today's one until this morning. But I've given them all a heads up on the 5th of November. And if there's anybody that wants to jump in and say, hi, this is what I'm going to talk about, then that will be lovely. They don't have to do it in that voice, of course. But...
But please do. That would be great if we could have a speaker. Hello.
Yes. And then, I think I keep getting asked about hotels. And I know that the nearest hotel to the venue is the Premier Inn Old Trafford. I have a feeling, I don't know why I didn't think to ask if they would do any kind of discount for a block book. We've got so many rooms booked at that blooming Premier Inn. I don't know how big it is, but if there are any rooms left there, then that's the nearest one. I believe there is also a DoubleTree pretty close by, because Old Trafford is not slap bang in the centre of Manchester, but it ain't far, It's like 10-15 minutes in a taxi, or you can get the tram if you're staying in the city centre. But that Premier Inn is going to be pretty full of people going to Evolving HR for breakfast.
It'll be the after party.
The after party, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have the after party actually there because we've got the sponsored drinks, thank you. And then there'll be the after party when we have to start paying for drinks, and anyone who's like really into drinking will stay. And then the after party is breakfast to try and recover from the drinking.
Yes, absolutely.
But you don't have to drink. That's also, you don't
have to drink a thing if you don't want to, of course not. But yeah, it's nice to do a social thing, I think, afterwards. I refuse to call it networking. If you want to use it for that, use it for that. For me, it'll just be like, oh yeah, it's nice to see everybody.
Informal drinks.
Yes.
With someone like Marcia, who is coming. Marcia is joining us in chat. Hello. Welcome to the live stream.
In fact, I know Claire's coming. I know that Charlie's coming. And I know that Marcia's coming, which is really cool. I know that Francesca's coming as well. So most of the people in the chat this morning are coming, which is great. It's crazy. There's going to be 150 people in that room. Our worst case scenario, if I don't sell a single other ticket in 6 weeks, is there'll be 140 of us because we're 10 off the total. So
and that is just such a beautiful segue, nearly coming to the end of the live stream, but we have that link there. So if you do know anyone that hasn't got a ticket and should get a ticket, as Kirsty just said, there are only 10 left. There is only the amount of tickets I can count with fingers now. That's how little there is. So they
true.
will go before the end of November. So
They absolutely will.
Are planning on coming, we've got one more payday until then. Make sure you use it to get your ticket and join us in Manchester, because if you don't do it then, unfortunately you can't come and you'll just have to live stream the event and you'll be sad because you'll be like, I can't join in with all the shenanigans.
And here's the thing that I will do. If anybody is watching this and is thinking, crap, I really want to go, but I don't get paid till the end of the month, message me. I'll hold you a ticket back if you want to wait till your payday. So just pop me a message on LinkedIn. Send me a DM and I will hold it back for you if that is something that you need. So yeah, just let me know.
Lovely stuff. What a kind of. And Orshi joined us as well. Hello.
Hey, Orshi.
Did an amazing talk at the Great Geek Together, which was really cool.
Did.
Absolutely smashed that one out of the park.
I love Orshi. I've met her a couple of times now, and she's just full of life and such a character, and a big cheerleader of all of us doing this sort of work. And really excited to see you again, Orshi. It'll be lovely.
I've never met her. I've only observed her talking because that was a busy day. And
well, yeah, it was for you. I've got a feeling this one's going to be a busy day for you.
Yeah, so a big hello to everyone who's coming. I won't say hello to anybody until about 2 hours after the event's finished, and I can then decompress. So, that is going to be a full-on day. But it's going to be a good one. It's going to be great. Really I can't wait. Premiere It is on Brandon Purple. The lights are going to be on Brandon Purple. We're going to purple the Old Trafford area of Manchester completely, with a little bit of metal sprinkled on top of that purple as well.
That sounds like a good day out to me.
I'm down for it. Well, I'm coming away from holiday to make this happen. So
I know. And you made that decision. You already had the holiday booked when I first approached you about this.
Yeah, and I was like,
from day one, you were like, I'm going to be in the lakes that week, but I'll come down.
If anything, it's like I'm closer. I was talking to my wife and I was like, I know it's 2 days out of our holiday, but it also just means I don't have to drive from Norfolk, which is in the middle of nowhere, to Manchester. I can just drive an hour down the road.
Make it sound like you were forced to move there.
I forced myself to move there because I'm a country bumpkin and living near big cities scares me. I need to, a dual carriageway is just like... Norfolk is the only county in the UK without a motorway in it. There you go.
The fact that no one needed for a Tuesday morning. Thank you so much, Toby.
From train stations to motorways and everywhere in between, let's get out of this live stream because we're now just talking gibberish.
Let's do that right now.
Right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We will catch you on our next live stream on the 5th of November and at the Evolving HR Conference on Tuesday, the 26th of November.